This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you already know this, and so do I. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Thursday, July the 23rd of 2026, and we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio Big.
Oh, yes, hanging out with our friends at Radio Big, no doubt about that, as we are doing all of the fun stuff that we get to do. So anyways, how are you doing on this lovely Thursday? It's roughly been about 24 hours or so since the last time we had the opportunity of hanging out. And yeah, yesterday there was depending if you hang out on the podcast network, you did see that there was a new episode of Signal Reflection. Yes, that happened yesterday. In case you're not familiar with it, that's a podcast that we do kind of based around some of the book concepts of the safety transmission trilogy that we did. So yes, that is something that is available. So anyways, let's talk real quick. If you're new here, let's talk about some of the stuff that we do. Our show consists of safety in the news and safety. This is kind of what we do. So with that being said, what ends up taking place is the following. We hang out, we bring in some professional newscasters. They talk about what the hell's going on. I come back in, give you a level of a main story, and then we kind of go from there. That's it. That's the whole kit and caboodle. If you want to interact with the show, it's a simple process on doing so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. Once you get there, audio, video, and text messaging. That's audio, video, and text messaging will get you right down the path in regards to some of the stuff that needs to happen. So not a big iggy there, but it's definitely one of those things that once you get there, that's the options. And then it's kind of an easy process because I get a prompt right on the screen. And then I know what to do. I know what to do. Yeah. So that's it. That's it. By the way, I'm being told episode 1400 next week. Didn't realize that. Guess that's we're getting close. 1,400 hours of this thing. Wow, what an amazing time. Okay, so with that being said, why don't we go ahead and do this? Why don't we bring in our friends from some feature story news, let them talk a little bit about what the hell's going on, and then we kind of go from there. If you're good with that, I'm good with it. We can get that moving all inside the place in regards to what needs to be done. I'm always kind of good to take off in regards to that stuff. So let's do this. Let's bring in our friends from Feature Story News. They will tell us what needs to be done, and we'll go from there.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in New Delhi, I'm Ishan Garg. US President Donald Trump on Wednesday received the remains of 4 American service members killed in Iranian attacks at Dover Air Force Base. His first dignified transfers since declaring the ceasefire over on the 8th of July. The president later called the conflict a skirmish at a rally in Georgia and said Tehran wants to negotiate, but it is not ready for a deal. While Secretary of State Marco Rubio warned at the ASEAN summit that there would be consequences if Iran continues to violate its commitments. But after nearly a fortnight of sustained airstrikes, there is little sign of a breakthrough. From Washington, Kate Fisher reports.
Donald Trump is really looking to have some sort of victory that he can say to the American people, look, it was all worthwhile. Now we have this. And at the moment, he is struggling to get that. This extra military pressure is an attempt to either get the Iranians to capitulate or force the kind of hardline faction within Iran back to the negotiating table. But 12 nights in, neither of those things have happened.
President Donald Trump has also threatened to attack Iranian civilian infrastructure if Tehran attacks ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Jagruti Dave has more.
Deliberately striking civilian infrastructure comes with the serious risk of potentially violating international law. But that hasn't stopped US President Donald Trump from once again raising the rhetorical threat level. That's as the US hit Iranian military targets for an 11th consecutive night over Iran's threats to shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. Pressure Tehran exerted only after the war started in February. The US's top diplomat told foreign ministers gathering in Manila letting Iran control the crucial waterway would set a dangerous precedent. Marco Rubio also called Iran the troublemaker behind the Houthis' threats against Saudi Arabian ports.
France has passed a law banning social media apps for children under 15. Students will no longer be allowed to carry their phones inside schools, as Ross Cullen tells us from Paris.
Children will now have to hand in their mobile phones at the door. A mobile phone ban has been brought in for all schools. And for middle schools, where the children are roughly 10 to 14 years old, there will be an impact there for the social media ban. Anyone under the age of 15 from the 1st of September will not be allowed to create an account on TikTok or Snapchat or Instagram. There will be an age verification stage they'll have to pass. Now, there are concerns that tech-savvy young people will potentially be able to use VPNs to circumnavigate some of these age verification checks, but people who are in favour of the new legislation say that it might be imperfect, but you have to start somewhere to try to stop doom scrolling, reduced attention spans, impact on children's learning capabilities, cyberbullying, access to adult and inappropriate content.
The main news again. US President Donald Trump on Wednesday received the remains of 4 American service members killed in Iranian attacks at Dover Air Force Base. His first dignified transfers since declaring the ceasefire over on the 8th of July. President Donald Trump has also threatened to attack Iranian civilian infrastructure if Tehran attacks ships in the Strait of Hormuz. France has passed a law banning social media apps for children under 15.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking again today at whether the transatlantic relationship can be salvaged in light of President Trump's threats to pull US troops out of Europe and his general ambivalence, some would say antipathy, towards NATO. Yesterday, we heard from one foreign policy analyst who believes there is a way of threading the needle and retaining strong transatlantic ties. But today, the views of Natalie Tocci, an international relations professor with Johns Hopkins University, who says the comedy of the past 80 years is now over.
I don't think that there's ever been a breach of trust, not even in Trump 1 was there a breach of trust like the one that we've seen in Trump 2. Right? So, and this is why I think that this is a turning point. I don't think that it ever crossed European minds. How do we protect ourselves against the United States? Right? There would have never been the level of intimacy, the level of dependence, right, that there has been on the United States had there not been that basis of trust. It's the first time that the United States represents a potential threat to Europe, right? This is unheard of, right? This has never happened before.
She spoke to Foreign Policy magazine. The Pentagon is currently engaged in a 6-month review of the US force presence in Europe. There is every possibility that it will conclude with a broader drawdown of US forces than the one already announced. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
There's more from us on Twitter at Feature Story. And that is the latest Feature Story news. Ishan Garg reporting.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth. Through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello. Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
You are listening to a renowned safety expert, Dr. Jay Allen, on Safety FM. Changing safety cultures, one broadcast and one podcast at a time. Join the fun on social media and find us on Facebook at Safety FM.
Okay, here we go. Currently, let's see, how many are we? 15 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out doing all the fun stuff that we get to do. So let's get into it. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's just kind of how the multiverse works. A lot of stuff has to happen for it to make any kind of level of sense, just realistically how it goes. Okay, so let's get into some weird things, because I just don't know how else to put it, because it's just weird. Life is weird. Sometimes.
We interrupt this program for an important announcement.
It's hot and sweaty and stanky.
I guess that's an important announcement that we needed to share. So there you go. Yeah, it's hot and sweaty and stanky out there. Thank you. So a lot of stuff going on inside of the world. Let's start talking right away. I don't know. I always find so many things so interesting that we can discuss on the show. But then I kind of get in here and I go, okay, if we talk about this first, can we talk about that later? And then have all kinds of questions. So yeah, I have a issue with how to handle some of this stuff. I know, and I'm supposed to be in the
captain's chair in regard to what's going on.
So I think before we go into this, I want to talk about this for a moment. Are you familiar with Skynet? Yeah, there was a little older movie, 1984, called Terminator, Cyberdyne Systems, Skynet, and how this system is going to go rogue and take over the world. Sound familiar? I got a little story for you. You ready? Have you been watching the news? Because I got something to share with you. OpenAI says that one of its advanced AI agents unexpectedly escaped a controlled testing environment, normally known as a sandbox, and during a cybersecurity evaluation, assessed the system at an AI platform, Hugging Face. According to the company, the autonomous AI found ways to bypass its restrictions, gained internet access, used stolen credentials, and exploited a previously unknown software vulnerability while trying to complete a assigned task. OpenAI described the incident as unprecedented and says that it has strengthened its security measures. Hugging Face confirmed that it worked with OpenAI to investigate the breach and said there was no evidence of malicious intent by the company. But cybersecurity experts say that the incident highlights the growing need for stronger safeguards as AI systems become more capable of carrying out complex tasks on their own. So I'm going to tell you this because I want to mark this down because this is how it goes. It is July the 23rd. It is 18 minutes into the hour of the 7 o'clock. And we're talking about this now. I keep on wondering if in 10 years from now, we're going to go back to this incident that occurred right now. And we're going to be talking about, hey, you remember when this happened? Now, here's the other fun part about this. OpenAI has discussed this and said what has went down. How long ago did this happen? And if they never would have self-reported, because that's what it sounds like, how would this have been handled? Like, would we ever know? Now, keep in mind that if you're familiar with tech or not familiar with tech, let's talk about this for a moment. A sandbox is kind of a enclosed area where you kind of can test some of the things that you're trying to do. They're saying, meaning OpenAI, that the system, this advanced AI, was able to get out of the sandbox, get onto the internet, and then go do its own thing. And apparently interacting with this, what is it, Hugging Face, which I've never even heard of the company, which I'm sure it's become super popular all of a sudden because of that. So there you go. There you go. A lot of stuff going on right there. Kind of a weird one, huh? Okay, so let's talk about this real quick. The FCC, or the chairman of the FCC, says that ABC's decision not to air President Trump's recent White House speech on broadcast network could be considered during the agency's early review of the station's licenses owned by ABC. The FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, said broadcasters have a public interest and obligation and suggested that airing presidential addresses from the White House is something stations should generally do. President Trump had criticized ABC and NBC after both networks chose not to carry the speech on their broadcast networks, though both made it available through their streaming platform. ABC argues FCC early license review is an attempt to pressure editorial decisions and says it threatens free speech. FCC Commissioner Anna Gomez, the agency lone Democrat, said that the FCC has no authority to punish broadcasters for over-editorial choices protected by the First Amendment, noting that networks have declined to air speeches from presidents on both parties in the past. So there you go. Okay, so let's talk about this because we are talking about El Presidente. President Trump legal team is asking the federal appeals court to order E. Jean Carroll to return the $5.6 million she recently received after a jury found Donald Trump liable in a civil court case involving sexual abuse and defamation claims. The request comes just weeks after the payment was released from the court-managed escrow accounts. Carroll's attorneys argue the motion has no legal basis and is simply another attempt to delay the case after multiple court losses, including the U.S. Supreme Court's decision not to hear Trump's appeal. Trump has continued to deny the Carroll's allegations and has called the case politically motivated. So what do you think here? Seriously, what do you think? It's an interesting one. I mean, how can you lose a case, the funds get released and be like, I think I want the money back? How does that work? I mean, I guess it's kind of one of those things you can request it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get it. Just some things to talk about. I mean, what a weird time when you think about the whole thing when it's all said and done.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, trying to be something, all right. LeBron James remains on side in speculations about his next team up after Miami Heat accidentally fueled a rumor mill, better saying. Fans spotted it, briefly posted and quickly removed YouTube live stream. LeBron James introduced at a press conference scheduled for July the 27th. The Heat say it was simply a placeholder created in case James signs with the team, but quick deletion has many questioning that explanation. That isn't, it has only intensified rumors that Miami could be LeBron's next destination, though no official announcement has been made. If he does end up with the Heat, Miami would boast two of the world's biggest sports stars, with LeBron James and soccer icon Lionel Messi calling the city home. So there you go. If you're into sports, I'm sure that's super important to you, just in regards to talking about that. Now, I have some stuff that I had to talk to you about. And this is not one of these things that I want to be braggy about, but this sucks in regards to talking about it. Measles cases in the U.S. have climbed to levels not seen in more than 3 decades. According to Johns Hopkins tracker, the country has recorded 2,295 cases so far in 2026, already surpassing last year's total and marking the highest number since 1991. Most cases have occurred among people who were not vaccinated, with large outbreaks in South Carolina and Utah driving such much of those increases, better saying. Health experts warn that vaccination rates must remain above 95% to maintain the herd immunity to protect the nation's measles elimination status. With global health officials are expected to review in November. Researchers say that the surge is a reminder that even small drops in vaccinations coverage can lead to significant outbreaks. So there you go. What do you think there? I mean, I haven't heard shit about measles since I was a kid. And let's be realistic. That was a long time ago. So there you go. Okay, take a listen to this real quick. This is an interesting one. Ford is facing growing criticism after 4 more employees say that they were fired after over alleged snacks theft tied to self-checkout kiosks inside of the company plants. The controversy follows a case of veteran electrician Kurt Chrome, who was fired over a $1.95 package of cookies before proving that he was actually paid and being offered his job back. Another worker, Nick Nabozny, says that he believed that his debit card payment for Doritos and Ritz crackers had gone through after the kiosk confirmed the transaction, only to later be accused of theft. Several workers have complained about the kiosk malfunctions, including failed payments, duplicate charges, and frozen screens. Ford and Aramark say that they're reviewing the reports. So it's amazing. A $60,000 truck gets a warranty, but a $1.95 doesn't. So there you go. Imagine risking 6-figure job over a Milky Way bar. Not really something that I would normally see, but I guess that's one of those things to talk about. So there you go. There you go. A lot of stuff going on right there as we are talking. So what do you think? So remember, we normally don't try to talk about sports here, but I think that this one is bad enough to talk about? Yeah, bad enough is really the way to word this one. Athletics rookie Joshua Corrado-Greer suffered one of baseball's most painful injuries when he fouled a pitch into his groin, rupturing a testicle during Monday night's game against the Arizona Diamondbacks. He finished that bat with a hit, stayed in the game, and played another half inning on defense, and even hit the first major league home run before eventually heading to the hospital for emergency surgery. Managers Mark Kotze said that joked that Joshua may be the first player to ever suffer that injury and still get a hit and keep on playing. The rookie is now on the injured reserve list and reportedly recovering well. How does that recovery process work? I'm not joking.
Duh.
I mean, I just want to figure that out because that becomes a very interesting one.
Duh.
So talk about leaving it all on the field. That's not a joke. And then that's like taking one for the team permanently. And then he's battling his batting average survived. His family's jewels didn't so much. And the Cub has officially entered the Hall of Fame. Somewhere every guy watching crossed his legs at the exact same time. The replay came with viewers' discretion warning for men. And the trainer asked, "Where does it hurt?" And he said, "Yes." Yes, I said that correctly. Where does it hurt? Yes. Something to think about for sure when it's all said and done.
They're good. They're very funny.
They're hilarious. They just be whoever they want to be.
It's just really funny.
Rated R Safety Show.
I mean, I don't know if it's funny, but it's definitely something to think about. But man, that sounds terrible. I mean, I know I'm not giving you anything new there, but it definitely sounds terrible when it's all said and done. I mean, what a crazy time when you really think about it for just a moment. And don't think about it too much because I don't want your brain to go somewhere entirely different where it does not need to be going. But man, terrible time. That is for sure. Let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world because that's what we have to do around here. So a new podcast appearance is fueling fresh debate over long-running UFO conspiracy theories. Physicist Manieli Dekarnashny is what it seems like, claims that the Apollo-era moon photos were altered to remove unexplained objects, pointing to the difference between the archived version of the same images. He also repeated decades-old claims that some astronauts encountered mysterious phenomena or were not to return to the moon, and cited allegations from a former NASA worker who said that he was ordered to destroy photos showing anomalies. NASA has consistently denied the evidence of alien life or a cover-up, and skeptics say that the supportive anomalies are more likely the result of a camera, artifacts, cosmic rays, or natural explanations. No verified evidence has emerged to support the extraordinary claims. So what do you think here? I'm just asking because it's an interesting time. I'm just saying. So there you go. So here you go. Here's another one. People who use social media are 32% more likely to think about leaving their spouses, according to a study. Researchers from Boston University found that correlation between social media use, marital issues, and divorce. In particular, they concluded that Facebook is a significant predictor of divorce rate and spousal troubles. What do you think here? What an interesting little article to think about. Seriously. So if you use Facebook, have you considered leaving your spouse? I'm just asking. Kind of a weird one. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there. I don't know. I mean, maybe this is when you start saying, hey, we're banning Facebook from being used inside of the household. I mean, I don't know. It's maybe that's extreme. But think about that for just a brief EFE moment as we are talking. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse as we are talking. So take a listen to this one real quick. If summer seems to fly by now, you're an adult. Science says there's a reason. Psychologists say that children experience longer feeling summers because everything is new, creating stronger memories and making the time seem to stretch. As adults, routines take over. Our brains operate more on an autopilot, and we form fewer memories, experiences, making the season feel shorter. Experts say the best way to slow time down is to seek out new experiences, take trips, unplug from screens, pay attention to your surroundings, and engage in all your senses. Relive favorite childhood activities, and even allow yourself to be bored occasionally. The more memorable moments your brain creates, the longer summer feels when you look back. So there you go. No autopilot is what it sounds like for sure there. That is what it seems like they're saying.
Duh.
So there you go. There you go. I don't know. It's kind of one of those weird ones. So take a listen to this. I don't know where this came from, but we're going to talk about it anyways. I need a quick way to lower your stress. Researchers at North Carolina State University found that just 10 minutes sitting in a restored forest while listening to birds sing left college students feeling calmer, happier, and more mentally refreshed than any other setting tested. The study compared four combinations: a forest with bird songs, a forest with traffic noise, a concrete campus area with bird songs, and a concrete area with traffic noise. The clear winner was the forest paired with a bird song, while concrete setting with traffic noise ranked dead last for stress and mood. Researchers say that the nature bird song help independently, but together they create a bigger mental health boost. So there you go. I guess the next time you feel stressed is tell them you're going outside and you're going to take care of business because that's what's going to make you feel better about things.
Duh.
So I don't know. Interesting stuff for sure. Anyways, with that being said, why don't we go ahead and do this and get into this thing that we call our main story, because it seems like it's time to do that.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Yeah, it's that time to do the main story. Now, I have to tell you, because of the years that I've been able to do this, I'm kind of always amazed when I get to look around at some random shit, because there is some randomness that occurs from time to time inside of our inside of the way that we do work. And let's talk about it for a moment, because I think that it needs to be discussed. Recently, I was involved with an event, taking a look at an event that was taking place. And I shouldn't say I was involved, because I was more of a spectator. So I was a spectator at an event, and I'm watching these people do the work. And I will tell you that it's kind of a very high level, planned, choreographed event is probably the best way that I could describe this. And I was watching some of the people that were doing the choreography of this particular event. And there was competitors from around the U.S. involved in this event. And I watched some competitors that were doing stuff that was mind-boggling. I mean, they were doing things that I don't think other people had even seen before. I want you to envision this almost, if you can, if you were alive at the time, or if not, you might need to go back and take a look at it. When Michael Jordan jumped from the free throw line and dunked the basketball. That was an amazing moment. Nobody could understand how he did that. And I'm going to say it was close to one of those moments where people during this choreography were doing things that other people had never seen before. It was that advanced. And the funny part was there were other people that came in after this one person did their choreography and started doing their moves, and it almost looked like it was totally two different timelines. It looked like one was so far advanced compared to the other one that it almost seemed like the industry had passed them by. And here's what happens sometimes. You know how we talk about from time to time people opening the door for you and you're able to come in and change things? Like there is a roadmap that was built where you get to go through that down that road that was created for you. Not like for you in particular, but it was created, and because other people did the work, you're able to walk through. And the stuff that was extremely difficult that they did in the past is almost relatively easy going forward. It was one of those moments. It was one of those moments that you got to see the change as it was occurring in real time, and people were still so far behind. And it started to make me think about something in regards on how things work within our industry. And I say that very lightly here because that is sometimes the level of change that occurs. Like I will tell you, when I walked in and I was looking at some of the stuff that was being done in the world of safety, which, let's be realistic, I had no really level of understanding, but there was frameworks that were out there that when you heard them, it was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense in regards to what needs to be done. But then all of a sudden you hear some things that totally change the way that you look at the industry. There was things there that totally changed the way that one would go, oh, this doesn't seem to apply anymore in regards of the stuff that's here. And I looked at some of that and I was kind of chuckling going back now because I go, wow, this is the level of change that people want, but they're so afraid of what's so different. And listen, I understand that you don't really want to be that first person that kind of goes through some of this stuff and you go, oh yeah, I'm going to do all this weird shit. And then people are like, I don't know what exactly you're trying to say, but hey, if you're going to do it type of thing. I get that, where it can get extremely weird for you. But I look at it too and go, where do you go from time to time, of course, and go, if we're going to incorporate change, how weird are we going to look? And there's nothing wrong sometimes with being advanced. There's nothing wrong sometimes with being ahead of the curve. But also you don't want to be the head of the curve because for the sake of being ahead of the curve, if that makes sense. There are times in life that we have to look at this and go, okay, what are we going to do now that we've seen that everything has changed? I'm just asking because I want to have a better understanding. So have you ran into a scenario similar to this? And it's not that people don't see that there's a pretty dramatic change between what's being said and what's being done. But I look at it also from the standpoint of sometimes people are not willing to go through the change because of the level of fear that they have. Like there is a level of fear that they're like, oh my God, I can't be that forward thinking. So as you look at this for just a moment in time, because that's what we're talking about, have you had that moment where you go, maybe it is time for us to look at something and go, yes, let's go ahead and get rid of this. Let's go ahead and move forward into this next new thing. And is it really for the sole purpose to look so different compared to others? Or are you doing it more along the lines for the whole purpose of trying to make the system better? And that's what I don't know. sometimes being first does not mean that it's the best, but it definitely does make sure that things will start changing. And sometimes being involved with some of those conversations really drives some people mad in regards of if you're changing the way that things look just for the sake of doing so. Think about that today. When you're going through your system today and you go, hey, if the change did occur, would I want to be involved, and how different is it going to look compared to everybody else if I'm doing it now?
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com for more information. Lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly. Less than $2 a month and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
In order to save the planet from cow farts, why doesn't someone just invent really large gas X pills?
God, what's that awful stench? Radio.
Inside of me.
Okay, here we go. 45 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Thursday. Yep. Yeah, 46 minutes right now. This is Let It Be Cut. I gotta tell you, it's not available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, or Pandora, because we created this one in-house. Yeah, I like these songs. So there you go. It's not a Jay Allen exclusive, but man, we get this working here. It's definitely Let It Be Cut. So there you go. Anyways, you know how it is. I love me some music around here, so I'm not going to lie and be like, hey, I won't get stuck here. So there you go. Okay, so let's continue talking about some things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's just kind of what we do around here. And if anything, let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Our Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and we want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, there's going to be information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, and grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com, To Write Love on Her Arms. Seriously. Go there. You'll be amazed with the amount of information that is there and things that could benefit you or maybe even others that you may know. All you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com and there you go. And I'm going to tell you, once you get there, if you take a look around, there is a whole segment, and I'm talking about a whole segment about helplines that are 24 hours and confidential. I mean, it has everything listed from crisis text line, National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, National Child Abuse Hotline, National Domestic Violence Hotline, Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, the Trevor Project, Trans Lifeline, Veterans Crisis Line, just to name a few. They're all there. TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. So there you go. Okay, with that being said, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the multiverse. And you know what I like? I like talking about this real quick. There is a gentleman that interacts with our show by the name of John Smalls. And boy, do I love this guy. So let's go ahead and bring him in for the Motivation Minute.
Courtesy of JaceCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by Don. Morgan Freeman said, "Fatigue, discomfort, and disagreement are merely symptoms of effort." I can feel this in my bones right now. As I write this and record this, my body is aching, and it's all good things. I've been so busy this summer with many wonderful things. My daughter's wedding and about a dozen community events, some with several thousand people and others with maybe just a few dozen. But every event was something I looked forward to. I really do love to help with these kind of things, but I'm not as young as I used to be. I'm 50 years old now. I've lost about 40 pounds in the last year, but I'm still a bigger guy, and that all makes a difference too. I had a guy tell me, "You sure are active for a big guy." I laughed and I said, "Yeah, until tomorrow." I often do pay the price the next day. I could sit at home and just watch TV, but then I accomplished nothing. The Motivation Minute. This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
A federal judge has temporarily blocked the administration from stripping work permits from thousands of immigrants and asylum seekers who rely on a special protection program.
The ruling halts plans to revoke employment authorization from people with temporary protected status, while the court weighs whether the policy violates federal law and due process rights. Lawyers say the pause gives affected workers and families breathing room as they challenge the changes, and the outcome could shape how future presidents handle humanitarian protections. Jessica Oakley reporting.
Lebanon's president wrapped up a Washington visit with a White House meeting where the American president pledged support for rebuilding and stabilizing the country after recent cross-border fighting.
Lebanese leader Joseph Aoun met the U.S. president inside the Oval Office as both sides sought to lock in a framework for Israeli troops to leave southern Lebanon and disarm Hezbollah units there. The talks aim to turn a fragile withdrawal deal into a longer-term security arrangement that could eventually lead to formal peace between the neighbors and lessen the risk of a wider regional war. Chris Anderson reporting.
5 people have died in an Ohio river after a rescue attempt went tragically wrong when several adults jumped in to help a struggling swimmer.
Authorities say 2 people entered the Scioto River to aid someone in distress, followed by 2 more rescuers, before fast-moving water overcame all involved. Investigators are piecing together the sequence of events as local leaders urge residents to respect dangerous currents, and the community grieves a sudden loss that underscores the risks of improvised rescues. Liam White reporting.
The Lebanese army has moved into a southern town vacated by Israeli forces, the first major test of a U.S. brokered deal meant to end cross-border clashes.
Soldiers deployed to positions around the town after an agreed Israeli pullout, with officials saying the operation is designed to replace Hezbollah fighters with regular troops under international monitoring. If this initial handover succeeds, further deployments could extend along the frontier, reducing rocket fire and opening space for negotiations on a durable ceasefire. Gary Beck reporting.
House Republicans in Washington face a pivotal stretch as they race to pass the president's priorities before lawmakers leave town for a long August recess.
Party leaders are pushing votes on spending bills, immigration measures, and national security funding that closely reflect the White House agenda. Failure to move key legislation before the break could weaken the president's bargaining power, deepen internal GOP rifts, and give Democrats fresh ammunition heading into the fall campaign season. Kyle Norris reporting.
The administration has paused about $1 billion in Medicaid payments to California and Minnesota after raising concerns about how the states are using federal funds.
Health officials say the suspension affects certain managed care programs, while auditors review whether spending and reporting comply with federal rules. The move pressures state governments to address billing questions quickly, and it could prompt broader scrutiny of Medicaid oversight at a time when budgets and health coverage remain politically sensitive. Kevin Sanders reporting.
Moldova's parliament has installed a new prime minister who promises to revive a struggling economy while keeping the small nation on course for closer ties with Europe.
Lawmakers in Chisinau backed investor Vasile Tofan to lead a fresh cabinet after he outlined plans for growth measures, anti-corruption efforts, and energy reforms aligned with European Union standards. The government now faces the hard work of convincing skeptical citizens and EU partners that Moldova can modernize quickly enough to secure membership and resist pressure from Russia. Benjamin Wright reporting.
United Nations monitors report a sharp rise in Ukrainian civilian casualties driven largely by waves of drone strikes hitting cities and infrastructure in recent weeks.
The UN Human Rights Office says explosive drones and missiles have slammed into residential areas and energy sites, killing and injuring more non-combatants and damaging critical services. Investigators warn that continued attacks on crowded urban centers could deepen humanitarian suffering, strain medical systems, and complicate any future accountability efforts for potential war crimes. Lawrence Keller reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
If you ever wished that Facebook had a suck it button, you suck! This rock block is for you.
Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about some things that happened back on this date, because that seems to be an important thing to do. As I take a look around, 1965 Beatles' Help is released in the UK. In 1976, Wings release Let 'Em In. In 1984, Vanessa Williams' first black Miss America resigns due to posing nude. In 1989, Fox TV tops ABC, NBC, and CBS for the first time in America's Most Wanted. In 1989, winds gusts of 85 miles per hour at Fort Smith, Arkansas. And in 2012, Sally Ride, astronaut, first American woman in space, died. That happened back on the dates that I have listed. Let's talk about some celebrity birthdays today. Woody Harrelson turned 65. Eric LaSalle turned 64. Slash from Guns N' Roses fame turned 61. Charisma Carpenter turns 56. Sam Waters turns 56 as well. Allison Cross turns 55. Marlon Wayans turns 54 today. Monica Lewinsky turns 53. And yes, good old Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe, turns 37 today, just in case if you were wondering. Okay, so let's talk about some things that you ought to know if you don't know them. The House of Representatives have approved legislation that would place new restrictions on members of contracts trading stock through its stops, shorts, and complete ban. Republican lawmakers also attach a provision from Save America Act requiring voters to present photo identification at the polls. The bill now heads into the Senate, where the future remains uncertain. So there you go. Also, in some other news, a federal judge has scheduled the U.S. trial for former Venezuelan president and his wife for June the 1st of 2027. The couple, who pleaded not guilty to charges of conspiring to import cocaine into the United States over a 25-year period, has been in federal custody in Brooklyn since they were captured in the U.S. military in Caracas earlier this year. While both sides agree that the trial date, the judge warned that it could be delayed because of unresolved classified information and issues. So there you go. Also, in some other news, President Trump's defense secretary, Peggy Hegseth, attended a dignified transfer ceremony yesterday of Dover Air Force Base to honor the U.S. soldiers killed during the war in Iran. And the ceremony marked the third time the president has attended a return of a fallen service member since the conflict earlier this year. So there you go. Anyways, that's going to sum up our time together. I do appreciate you coming out, hanging out with me on this lovely Thursday. At the top of the hour, I will be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so, where I'll be talking about the world of music and entertainment if you want to go over there. If you don't want to go over there and you want to hang out here on Safety FM, you're more than welcome on doing that. And you get to hang out with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he gets to talk about the world of safety consulting. So there you go. If I can't leave you with some words of wisdom for today, the early bird might get the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese. So think about that. And here's some other advice for the day. A dog coat is natural protection against heat, sun, and insects. Don't trim or shave the coat just because it's summer. Keep that in mind. Some things to think about as we are talking. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios. as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.